Welcome to the NWR Virtual Investor Conference, May 2020. On the line, we have Scott Williamson. Scott Williamson is from Blackstone Minerals. Blackstone Minerals has a 90% stake in the Ta Khoa Nickel-PGE Project in Vietnam, where it is aiming to restart nickel production from a modern mine on care and maintenance since 2016. Blackstone recently partnered with EcoPro, the world's second largest nickel-rich cathode materials manufacturer, and is investigating the potential to develop downstream processing infrastructure in Vietnam. This would produce a downstream nickel and cobalt product to supply Asia's growing lithium-ion battery industry. Scott Williamson, the Managing Director of Blackstone, is on the line with us today. He's a mining engineer with more than 10 years of experience in technical and corporate roles in the mining and finance sectors. Prior to joining Blackstone in 2017, Scott held roles with Australian gold miner Resolute, and he also worked as a resources analyst at leading financial services firm Hartley, based in Perth. Over to you, Scott, with your presentation.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks to Nathan and the team at NWR for the opportunity to present today, and what a great format in the current environment. So yeah, looking forward to keeping everyone up to date on our progress over at the Ta Khoa Nickel Project. So yeah, I'm the Managing Director of Blackstone Minerals. This is our virtual presentation. So we have an international portfolio of battery and precious metals projects at different stages of exploration and development across the globe. Our flagship asset is the Ta Khoa Nickel Project, or Nickel-PGE Project in northern Vietnam. We also have the Goldbridge Project. We originally went to Goldbridge, which is just to the north of Vancouver in British Columbia, looking for cobalt. But we're really excited about the potential for gold and copper through this belt. It's actually the most prolific gold mining region in British Columbia's history. So we've got 48 kilometres of strike over there in British Columbia, with some very large IP geophysics and untested geology for gold and copper and cobalt. We've also got the Silver Swan South project just north of Kalgoorlie. We're along strike of the Kanowna Belle gold mine, and we're in the same komatiite ultramafic package as the Black Swan and Silver Swan nickel mines to the north. So we're 8 kilometres along strike of Kanowna Belle, and we've got some really interesting nickel sulfide potential outside of Kalgoorlie. But today we'll be focusing on the Ta Khoa Nickel Project. That's our flagship asset, and very much the focus of all of our exploration and development at the moment. This is a bit of a snapshot of the corporate structure. We've done our best to keep this in good standing. So we've got a fairly tight capital structure, 230 million shares on issue. Board and management have a strong position, around 12%. We've got a very supportive shareholder in Deutsche Balaton out of Germany. They hold about 14.5%. And as Laura said, we've just bought in EcoPro, which is the largest cathode manufacturer in South Korea and the second largest cathode manufacturer in the globe. So these guys are a really important part of what we're trying to achieve over in northern Vietnam. And they bought in $6.8 million at a 62% premium. So we're trading at about 16 cents. So if you're lucky, you can actually buy it just a little bit lower than what EcoPro paid the other day. They paid 17 cents, and we're very happy to have EcoPro on board. So we've added a board member from EcoPro recently. Mr. Jong is a accounting professional and really adds some skills to our board. We've also got Hamish Halliday and Steve Parsons. This is an all-star team that's done this all before. Recently, Steve's had some success with Bellevue Gold, and I think he'll also be presenting at some stage in this conference. Hamish and Steve have been doing this sort of thing all around the globe for the last 20 years. So there's a history of finding good assets, proving up major minerals discoveries, and creating shareholder wealth over 20 years now. And that's all done with great science behind the scenes. So Dr. Stuart Owen and the team of geologists we have are as good as I've ever worked with. So yeah, it's really important that we I suppose talk about how strong our technical ability is. Okay, so this is why we're in Vietnam. So we actually took EcoPro to our British Columbia asset looking for cobalt, and they said to us about 18 months ago, can you go and look for nickel sulfide? And the reason is that they're increasing the nickel content of the cathode in the lithium-ion battery. So they're moving towards this 8:1:1 ratio. So it's 8 times nickel, 1 to 1 times cobalt. So basically they said, yes, we need a lot of cobalt and we also need cobalt, but we need to start looking at nickel because nickel is becoming the major part of the cathode. So we went and looked around the globe for nickel sulfide, and that's why we've landed on the Northern Vietnam asset at the Ta Khoa Project. So this is a quick snapshot of EcoPro. So EcoPro is the largest nickel cathode manufacturer in Korea and the second largest in the world. There's a few different parts of EcoPro. You can see that they have different parts of the cathode. So they have the precursor. They also have a lithium arm, and that feeds into EcoPro BM, which is the cathode manufacturer. EcoPro BM feeds into some of the largest battery manufacturers in the world. Their major customers are Samsung, SDI, and SK Innovation. These are two of the biggest and premium lithium-ion battery manufacturers in the world. So we're playing with some of the biggest players in the lithium-ion battery industry, and we've got EcoPro on as a major shareholder, and we're now looking forward to the next stage of that investment, which we think will be a joint venture arrangement on the downstream processing facility in Northern Vietnam. This is a snapshot of what we're trying to achieve at the Ta Khoa Nickel Project in Northern Vietnam. So we're 6 hours out of Hanoi. We've got an existing mine and we've got an existing processing facility. So the previous owners of this mine sunk $130 million into this infrastructure. You can see the 450,000 tonne per annum concentrator, a modern mechanised underground mine. The previous owners mined 20,000 tonnes of nickel only over that 3-year period between 2013 and 2016. They closed this mine at the bottom of the nickel price, and they didn't do any exploration outside this first mine here. We've gone to the second mine, or the second part of that first ore body, which is the Ban Phuc ore body, and we've just started drilling this ore body here, which we're calling the Ban Phuc disseminated ore body. They mined the Ban Phuc massive sulfide vein, which is a small, narrow, high-grade underground vein. They mined 20,000 tonnes. We believe that they may have left behind potentially 10 times that amount of nickel that they'd depleted. That's in the first ore body, and we've got 25 targets after this one. So we've spent the first year since doing the deal on this project, drilling out this ore body, which will go into our maiden resource. We believe it will be potentially a large open pit mine. This is a picture of the Mount Keith mine in Western Australia. We believe we have very similar metrics to Mount Keith. Mount Keith is one of Australia's best nickel mines, and it currently mines at a head grade of only 0.5% nickel. So it's about large scale bulk open pit mining. And what allows us to do that is we've got the largest hydro power plant in Southeast Asia is in our province in Son La. So the Son La province has very low power costs due to the hydro power and the renewable energy that we can source nearby. This is the concentrator, and that's what previous owners were producing, a nickel concentrate. We're looking to go downstream to produce a nickel sulfate, which is for the lithium-ion battery industry. And that is why we brought in EcoPro, is to pursue that downstream processing facility and convert that nickel concentrate to a lithium-ion battery product. This is a flyover of our project in Northern Vietnam. So this is our existing concentrator. So the previous owners spent over $130 million on the capital infrastructure, and they only operated for 3 years. These mines like this can operate for 10 to 20 years. So we've got a 450,000 tonne per annum concentrator, and we'll now look to build the downstream processing facility that will be after the concentrate. So we can leverage off that existing concentrator. We've also got the Ban Phuc underground mine, which was a modern mechanised underground mine built to an Australian standard by Australian mining contractors. So we may use this to access it further underground or to access the open pit. We currently have our own drill rigs on site. We're drilling for $60 a metre. This is some of the lowest operating cost environments we've ever seen. We've also recently made a high-grade discovery called the King Cobra discovery. This is some of the core from our recent King Cobra discovery. Fully operational 250-person camp, so we've got plenty of room to restart this mine and bring the workers back, and we've already brought a lot of the workers back already. Fully permitted tailing facility that also acts as our water dam. All of the equipment is in the concentrate shed, all being refurbished by the vendor, Steve Enor. We've got fully stocked stores and critical spares, and we're all ready to go. Before we restart this mine, we must look at this downstream processing facility before we restart. We'll just go into a bit of the geology. It's important to understand the geology before we sort of progress into some of the study work. So we have the same geology as Norilsk. Norilsk is one of the most prolific nickel mining regions in the world. So Norilsk, we have the very similar age setting to Norilsk. Norilsk is not just one of the largest nickel mining districts, it's also very rich in palladium and platinum and rhodium, and these are all metals and minerals that we're seeing in the Ta Khoa Project. It's a similar structural setting to the Jinchuan, which is also to the north in China, another major magmatic nickel sulfide district. So we believe we've got a potential for one of the last unexplored, undeveloped nickel sulfide districts in the world. This is a snapshot of the project. So that first ore body that we're looking to develop is the Banfuk disseminated. We have 25 other targets outside of that. Some of the targets that we will now look to test are Ban Chang, Ban Kang, Ban Kwa, and also King Snake. So these are massive sulfide nickel outcropping, undrilled, underexplored, unexplored, and within hundreds of metres and within kilometres of an existing processing facility. So just zooming in on the Banfuk ore body and the Banfuk disseminated. So you can see here, this is the King Cobra discovery zone, so the high-grade zone. So we're hitting very high-grade disseminated mineralisation from surface. If we go back to the Mount Keith analogy, we're happy with anything around 0.5% nickel. Our discovery hole at King Cobra, we hit 60 metres at 1.3% nickel, basically from surface, so from 30 metres. So this is high-grade, disseminated, open-pittable nickel sulfide, very economic. So you can see there, we've drilled out this ore body. We're just finalising the last drill holes of that drill out phase. We're continuing to drill out this King Cobra zone, and we're continuing to understand what that King Cobra means. So this is what it looks like on a cross section. You can see the King Cobra looks like another phase or a secondary phase of mineralisation, and it could potentially vector us in on the feeder zone or the source of all the mineralisation. So we're just continuing to drill down dip along this area here. We'll continue to use all the modern geophysical techniques, EM, IP, downhole EM, to vector in on what could be the feeder zone or the source of all this mineralisation. So that's enough on the geology. We'll now move on towards the study work and all the good work that's happening in the background related to the restart of the mine and the downstream nickel sulfate refinery. So this is a flow sheet that we're using. It's actually the IGO's limited flow sheet. We're doing something very similar, which is basically we're taking a nickel concentrate from our existing concentrator, we're upgrading it to a battery product through a pressure oxidation autoclave process. So we can then produce a nickel sulfate, which trades at a premium to the nickel metal price. So most of our peers will be producing nickel concentrate, and they'll be getting a payability on the nickel price. So and they will never get a full price or full value for their nickel until they upgrade it. So through this upgrading process through to a nickel sulfate, we can then get a premium to the LME nickel price. And through our relationship with EcoPro, we're confident that we're not only bringing in the funding partner, we're also bringing some of the best chemical engineers in the world are working on our team to produce this downstream processing facility. We're also working in a collaborative study on this process, which is the glycine process, which is potentially I suppose, a game-changing, groundbreaking, low-cost, environmentally benign process that allows us to leach the nickel, and it's a new technology that we're also considering. But at the moment, our focus is more on the proven technology, which is pressure oxidation, which is a process that's used throughout the industry. It's a tried and tested technology used a lot through the gold mining, refractory gold industry. Okay, so what does all this mean for Newsflow? So we're now very focused on delivering this scoping study in Q3. Before the scoping study, we need to deliver the maiden resource on the Bandful disseminated ore body. So we'll deliver the maiden resource in Q3, a scoping study soon after. It's important, we believe, that we're not just throwing this resource into the market, but we also want to follow it up with some economics. Through that, we'll then move quickly towards a pre-feasibility study in early 2021 and towards a definitive feasibility study at the end of 2021. Aiming for a decision to mine in early 2022 and then starting the development process of the mining restart of the concentrator and the potential open pit mine and the downstream nickel refinery, which will be, we believe, in partnership with EcoPro. The ability to work with EcoPro allows us to minimise dilution to the Blackstone shareholders, and we will look to dilute at the downstream nickel refinery asset level and minimise our dilution to the Blackstone shareholders. We'll continue to investigate the potential to restart this mine, not just on disseminated at the Bandful disseminated ore body, but we'll now continue to look at massive sulfide as an opportunity, and we'll be testing a lot of those 25 massive sulfide vein targets over the coming 6 to 12 months, and really understand can we blend in some of this massive sulfide to improve the economics and to increase our nickel unit throughput at the nickel refinery with EcoPro. So what does this all mean? I suppose it's always important to keep an eye on the valuation. We believe that through delivering this resource and study in Q3, we should be able to move our market cap more in line with our peers that are more advanced. So we believe that through that study and the resource, we then have the ability to show the market the real value of this asset. We believe that we can trade in line with our peers that are trading at 2 to 5 times our current market cap. So through that study and the maiden resource, we believe that's the re-rate moment where the market sort of really can understand what we have and the fact that through our partner in EcoPro, we can build this mine back up and into production. And we believe we have a 10 to 20 year nickel mine here on our hands, and this is something much bigger than any of our peers have. We have a nickel sulfide district underexplored, undeveloped, and one of the last undeveloped nickel sulfide districts in the world. So just in summary, we have an international portfolio of battery and precious metals projects across Southeast Asia, North America and Australia, very much focused on the Ta Khoa Nickel Project. This is one of the last undeveloped nickel sulfide districts. We're focused on the first ore body, which is the Bandful disseminated. We're currently still drilling that King Cobra discovery zone and chasing that down dip and trying to understand where the source of that large intrusion is. So we've got a 1 kilometre long, 500 metre ore body. We believe we might be getting onto the feeder zone of that, and that's really exciting. But in the meantime, we're going to go and look at some of these other massive sulfide veins that are outcropping within hundreds of metres of the concentrator. But I suppose over the coming months, we will show to the market we have have a strong study, a maiden resource and strong economics, and that is why we've been able to bring in one of the world's largest cathode manufacturers as our partner. We've got a well-credentialed board and management team with a proven track record of discovery and creating shareholder wealth. We've done this time and time again over the last 20 years, and we believe that this is the asset that will drive shareholder wealth, and it's a company-making asset for Blackstone Minerals, and we look forward to showing the market that over the next 6 to 12 months. There's a disclaimer there. So all of this is on the website. Jump on the website and have a look around at the video, and we've also got a 3D model on the website. So very active on the social media, so get on your usual channel and follow us on there as well. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Scott. We'll be following along. We have a couple of questions from your investors that have come through as you've been speaking. Obviously, you spoke a lot about the potential for the Ta Khoa asset and the opportunity at hand there. Why are you so confident, however, that the economics stack up for the Ta Khoa, noting the previous expenditure was very high relative to the revenue earned on that asset?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So that Banfuk disseminated ore body that we've been drilling out over the last 6 to 12 months was actually, there were some original holes back in the 1960s that we were following up on. So we did have a bit of an understanding of that ore body before we started drilling it. So that we had a good understanding of what that ore body might look like. The numbers are coming in better than we'd hoped. And the reason it's coming in better is because of the platinum and the palladium, the gold, the rhodium credits. But also this high-grade King Cobra discovery is really improving the economics as well. So this disseminated ore body, our previous owners were looking to mine that as their second ore body. So there was this move towards this ore body. And I think the fact that we weren't just drilling into something that hadn't been sort of understood previously it gives us the confidence that we're onto something. But most importantly, it's about this King Cobra discovery, as well as the platinum and the palladium and the byproduct credits are really going to improve those economics. So if you can understand the revenue, we've just added 10 or 20% to the revenue line, and the cost hasn't changed. So we're happy that this mine works just on the nickel alone, and now we've got these byproduct credits which think we can also extract and monetize. So yeah, the previous owners weren't focused on exploration, and they didn't really go in as hard as we have with I suppose exploring the full potential of that ore body and all of the other ore bodies that we're now going to explore.
So I guess being not so much focused on exploration, they missed that King Cobra discovery. And someone is suggesting that it looks like you've gotten away with a bit of a steal with the acquisition of the asset on that basis.
Yeah, I think there's obviously still a lot of money and effort and a lot of work to get this back up into production. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of money left in the ground, and all we've done to unlock that is turn the drill rigs on. So yeah, it seems obvious in hindsight, but when the previous owners shut this mine, the nickel price was $8,000 a tonne, and it was very difficult to spend money on an asset that needed a fairly significant amount of capital. So we've already sunk in the order of $4 or $5 million into this project, and so it needed a fairly, I suppose, rigorous and costly exploration program, and we've delivered that, and it's given us a great result. But yeah, it's always good in hindsight, but yeah, it was a completely different nickel price environment, and we didn't have a lithium ion battery industry like we do now. So that's the other, I suppose, real difference with previous owners. They didn't have this, I suppose, lithium ion battery movement, which we're seeing now as well.
So sinking $4 to $5 million in the asset already, how much do you think would be needed, or approximate spend, to realise upside in the asset in the future?
Yeah, so we've started that scoping study. The downstream processing facility will cost in the order of $100 million US. That is the, I suppose, part of the project we're looking to partner with EcoPro. So we'd like to minimise the dilution to the Blackstone shareholders by bringing EcoPro in for that downstream facility. We will need to upgrade the concentrator, so there will be another spend on top of that. We're still working through that upstream component of the scoping study, but we can expect sort of another 50 to 100 million. So we're probably in the order of 100 to 200 million, but a lot of it will depend on how we cut that up with our partners. So we are looking to and talking to other potential partners. So we will bring in other partners to potentially top that capex up and dilute at the different asset levels and try not to dilute the Blackstone shareholders.
Are you open to divesting other assets also to focus on Ta Khoa, or more so bring on other partners?
Yeah, so we're definitely looking at other partners for Ta Khoa. It's a large asset. It's a district scale opportunity. So we're definitely talking to other partners as well. The other assets, unfortunately, they are not getting the focus that they deserve. So we're always open to doing deals on all of those assets, and whether that's I suppose a spin-off or a different way of monetizing or creating value for shareholders on those assets, because unfortunately we just don't have enough capital to throw around at all of those other great assets which deserve spend as well. So yeah, we're open to ideas on that, but yeah, also most importantly we want to produce cash flow, and the best way to produce cash flow is to turn this mine back on, and we want to do that with as much I suppose as little dilution to the shareholders as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hit the restart button. Well, thank you so much for that, Scott. Great to hear from you and Blackstone.
Thanks guys. Thanks NWR. Thanks Laura.
Thank you. Stay tuned. Next up, we have Tribeca, which of course is a fund manager you may be familiar with. They've got their Nuclear Energy Opportunities Fund that aims to provide investors with capital growth by investing in companies involved in the nuclear energy industry. That'll be up in a couple of minutes' time.